and 4 in zones 7 and 8, which is southeast Asheville. Also, 2 debris separation crews and 3 tree crews will operate in multiple zones as well. As a reminder, we ask the community not to park cars in front of storm debris piles to ensure that crews can collect storm debris. Our rental assistance program. City staff will be at the fair to distribute information on the rental assistance program the city is helping to fund through Eblin Charities and Grace Covenant. As mentioned, water resources staff will also have a table with lead testing kits and information on water issues. Applications for rental assistance can be submitted over the phone for the program being managed by Eblin Charities by calling 828-255-3066 or visiting eblincharities.org/programs. This program is available to all individuals and families who need help paying for rent in the city of Asheville. For the program being managed by Grace, you can apply by visiting Grace Presbyterian Church at 789 Merriman Avenue between noon and 4 p.m. Monday through Sunday. More information is available by calling 828-254-3274. We encourage you to share this information with your neighbors. Information is also being shared through the city's social media channels and is also available on the city's website at asheville.gov/Helene/relief-assistance. And in closing, I'd like to invite the community to tune into the council agenda briefing tomorrow, December 5th. During this briefing, we will review upcoming items scheduled for our action at our December 10th meeting, but also we'll share some exciting information about our data and communication efforts around recovery, including the launch of a new Helene Recovery Dashboard. Next week, there will be a City Council recovery work session on Tuesday, December 10th at 3 p.m. The work will be a facilitated session focused on long-term recovery planning and will be followed by a formal City Council meeting at 5 p.m. As a reminder, public comment is not accepted at work sessions. The meetings can be viewed live or after the meeting on the city's YouTube channel, which is available on the front page of the city's website at www.asheville.nc.gov. And as always, thank you to our mayor, our city council, our local, federal, and state groups, and our for-profit and nonprofit partners, and also to our community. Although we have a long way to go, we are making steady progress, and we will build back better. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. And with that, we will go ahead and open the briefing up to questions from members of the media who are on the Zoom call.
Hey, Stacy, it's Kim King. How you doing?
Kim, great.
Good morning. I wanted to see if the FEMA spokeswoman would be able to answer a couple questions for me.
Sure, Hannah is on her way up here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Hannah. Thank you so much. There are concerns in our community that there is a massive crisis brewing for people who do not have FEMA housing, temporary housing. On Monday, I profiled Anva Terrain Hensley's story and her 81-year-old mom who are living at the Quality Inn in Black Mountain. And she says she was on the phone for 3 hours, could not get a FEMA rep. They are begging for help. While they are safe in that motel, they haven't, according to what they've told me, said that FEMA has given them any information about any kind of trailer that they might be able to get. And there is reporting that's going on right now that FEMA only has 27 trailers in this area. I know that in recent weeks, we reported there were just 14 in the area. What is the status on FEMA bringing trailers to our community amid these growing concerns that people in frigid temperatures could be out of luck with housing for the winter?
No, that's such a great question. And I know that we're very much working with the county and the city, as well as the municipalities on this particular issue. I know we're having multiple meetings each day, not just with our internal group, but also with our FEMA staff back at Hickory, as well as headquarters. So we're very well aware of the challenges in front of us. I can say a couple of things. So the first is that we do have more than 1,000 people in Buncombe County right now who are being sheltered in our transitional sheltering assistance program, just like you mentioned, in hotels. And the primary reason for that is because we want people to have safe and sanitary place to stay. That is what we are going to continue to do so that, especially as people are facing the winter and there are housing uncertainties, we want to make sure that they have someplace that's warm, safe, and sanitary. So we have our transitional sheltering assistance program. As people are in that program, though, we are working with them on a case-by-case basis about what their longer-term solutions might look like. So there are a number of different programs that are available with FEMA. One of the programs, of course, is to help with repairing a home. We can offer financial assistance that way. We can also help with rental assistance. I know that we've been talking about that before, but for example, if somebody says, I need help with paying my rent or finding a rental location, we can provide some assistance that way. And then, as you mentioned, there are other kind of programs, for example, matching up disaster survivors with the mobile units. So the mobile units are in the process, just like you mentioned, we started at 14 and now we're at 27. We do understand that that doesn't necessarily match the need right now. However, we are working very hard, not only to place mobile units as feasible on private property, but more importantly, putting them into commercial parks that are already set up with like utilities. They already have pads available for units to be installed in a much quicker way. So we're working with the county on that, and we're also matching up individuals who are interested in that program. So along the lines of all of those programs, though, that are available is that one-on-one connection. And so just like you mentioned, the 1-800 number, that can be frustrating, but we encourage individuals to continue to stay in touch with FEMA, keep their applications updated, keep us updated about their current needs, either by calling, either by going to the website, or as I mentioned before, if it's possible, if it's feasible, I know it's not feasible for everybody, but if possible, going to a disaster recovery center. We've got the disaster recovery center at the Asheville Mall right now. And then of course, we've got these mobile units that are going around to the other areas in the county.
What is this situation with the building of the trailers? We would be grateful if FEMA could be very transparent about what the progress is. Are these having to be built? Why is there such a delay? Why is there only 27 trailers here and going into winter?
Well, I would say the first point is that the individuals that have expressed to us that they have a need are in safe and sanitary housing right now. We have put them into hotels, or we've identified other options for them, and that is our utmost priority right now. As we look at bringing in mobile units, there are a number of different complicating factors. So, for example, siting a mobile unit on a private property has a lot to do with, for example, topography. Here in Buncombe County, we've got a lot of mountains. You've got a lot of considerations, not just with where is it to actually put the unit, but then also hooking up utilities, making sure the electrical lines, the plumbing lines, everything is good to go and it's safe for a family to stay in. And then in addition, we have some of the same considerations putting them into commercial parks. We want to make sure that we do due diligence so that as we place families into these units, they are a place where they can continue on their recovery journey over the next months and especially the winter time.
And just, I'm sorry, one more question. There seems to be a lack of staffing for FEMA. We have received multiple press releases and the attachments basically are saying, we are hiring, we are hiring. Is the fact that someone like the woman that I profiled, Anva Terrain Hensley, who says she has called FEMA trying to get information and no one has called her back. She was on the phone 3 hours. Are you struggling with staffing? Because another story is reporting that Cotton Logistics, that was a federal contractor, started tearing down their employee housing in Candler before Thanksgiving, and that they have now left.
Oh, no, that's a great question. So the responder housing or the responder lodging facility that was that you're referencing, the Candler Village responder lodging facility, that was housing only responders. However, the intention of closing that down was so that we could support the local economy and get those responders into hotels at government rates. We heard very loud and clear from the local economic community, the business community, that they would appreciate support during this tourism season. And so the decision was made in conjunction, with the state and our other partners, that we want to support the community right now. We want to do everything that we can to boost business in whatever way that we can. And so as emergency responders, we're able to come in and pay a government rate for hotels, but then also foods, restaurants, rental cars, other ways in which we can support the economy during this time. So the closure of that facility did not have anything to do with a decrease in the responders' staff supporting this particular disaster. It had everything to do with being good partners here in this community.
This is John Boyle with Asheville Watchdog. I have a question for David Melton.
David Melton is on his way.
Thank you.
Good morning, John.
Good morning, David. Hope you're doing all right. I've had several people ask me, and you probably have had the same thing about the fuse gates at North Fork. And of course, one of them tipped as was designed in the heavy rainfalls on the 27th of September. But some people are convinced that it contributed to more flooding and more destruction downriver. I was just hoping you could address that and this idea from folks that there was a surge of water that came, and they have, in their minds at least, timed it to the falling of the tip gate out there. So I'm hoping you could just run us through that, and if there was any contribution to flooding from that.
That's a good question, John. And as you said, the fuse gates did work as designed. I think the bigger win in that is the dam survived, which would have been catastrophic otherwise. We're doing some flow tests and hydraulic tests to determine the exact question you're asking. But definitely the fuse gate did add to the stream.
And David, when you mentioned the flow rates and the testing, I'm assuming that's what it sounds like, that it would be, you look at a certain time of flow increases. How long do you think that will take y'all to get those results back?
Probably several months. Our engineers are working on it now, but it does take time.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Any additional questions?
We've had some questions in the chat about when the Army Corps of Engineers will start their waterway debris removal.
Sure. Waterway debris removal, we don't have a firm timeline for waterway debris removal, but we should have more information for you in the coming days on a timeline. Those scoping conversations are underway right now, and so we should have more information in the coming days. Anything else? Okay, well, in closing, you can find all of this information and more at buncombeready.org, or you can call the One Buncombe call line at 828-250-6100. Our next community briefing will be tomorrow at 11 a.m. Thanks to everyone who joined us today, and we'll see you tomorrow.